What's up, world? Welcome to The Positive Truth.
Hello, Governor.
Inspirational and positive news for a more progressive society.
We're trying to bring awareness, empowerment, inspiration, optimism, and understanding to communities everywhere.
I'm JP.
I'm Tim. This is The Positive Truth.
Damn right. What are we talking about today, man?
And we are talking about art and education.
The importance of art.
The importance of art and education.
In public schooling. Where can they find us at?
And you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on our podcast, which is The Positive Truth. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Google Plus.
Google Play.
Google Play, I apologize.
SoundCloud. iTunes. Damn near everywhere.
Look,
if we miss this, tell us and we'll get on it.
True story.
We want you to be telling us about positive news stories you want us to talk about. Share. Tell us about anything. We'll try to talk about it on the podcast. Tell us how we can get better.
We're taking criticism. Be honest.
If you like the podcast, make sure to share, leave a review. That helps us out a lot. We're trying to spread positive truth to everyone. You're never going to have to pay for this podcast. It's always going to be for the love. It's always going to be for free. So all we're asking you to do is if you care about a better society, loving others, bringing down the violence and the fear and the hate in communities, share it with a friend. But as always, we're starting with positive news.
Positive news.
Tim, go at it.
Go at it. Okay, I'm going to say this, but I hope I'm saying it right. Have you ever heard of a place called Bhopal, India?
I haven't heard of many cities in India.
Okay, either have I. Whenever I was reading it, I was like, wait a minute. I don't even know how to say this. I don't know anything about India. But I thought this was positive news, so I decided to share. Well, in Bhopal, India, I'm hoping I'm saying it right, a 9-year-old girl, I don't want to say her name, but I'm going to try. It's Muskan Ariwar, but I'm going to say this 9-year-old girl this whole entire time, so I know who I'm talking about because I don't want to mess up her name too bad. Well, she runs a library for kids.
And how old is she?
9 years old.
Okay.
When I read it, I was just like, man, I don't even want to read this. This is going to be whack, whatever it is. But then I continued reading, and I was in awe. She gives free access to books and a place to read to kids after school for 1 hour a day, every single day. She opened up her library in January of 2006. Outside of her home, she started with 25 books. Guess how many books she has now?
Are we sure this girl's 9?
She is 9 years old.
She's doing more at 9 than I'm doing at 27.
Exactly.
I don't even know. How'd she get the first 25 books?
She had 25 books that were gifts and books that she collected over, her short lifespan, 9 years. Well, people all over the world decided to send in books after they heard her story, which I believe a local news report in India, they did a story over it, and people started sending in books all throughout India. Then they made a video on Facebook. People started sending books all over the world, from the United States all the way to Australia, all to India. Now she has over 700 books. But the issue is she doesn't have a big space, so she can only have so many books. She hopes to grow later on, but for 1 hour a day, she opens up her library for her peers, just for a quiet place to read, basically. They just need I guess it's loud in her town, and this is a quiet place outside of her house, so for 1 hour a day, she opens it up. Sometimes they even play games. She organizes games where it's like a knowledge game where trivia questions, and whatever team wins, they get a surprise, which I think her mom gives it. I was trying to read the article more into it, but didn't have too many details on her parents. They really focused on her, but they give us, the winning team gets a surprise, and it's all ran by her, and she wants to open up another space, which is down the street from her house, another library right there, but she's still in the process of doing that. But at the age of 9 years old, most of us were thinking about candy and cartoons and again with JP of video games. We're thinking about video games, and this girl is opening up libraries. I mean, that tells you how great a child's imagination is. She just, hey, I'm gonna open up a library one day, and then instead of talking about it like most of us do, she got up and started doing it, and it's just amazing to me. She's definitely the future. Definitely the future.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna actually look for a link, and I'm going to try to put it on the podcast so those that are listening and want to help donate to her cause, we should have a link up there. If not, I'll find one sooner or later. I promise you that.
We'll post it on the Positive Truth Facebook page if we can't find it.
Yes, sir.
Well, I thought my first one was good, but I can't top 9-year-olds. They're doing their own libraries.
Children of the future.
But do you know what Remembrance Day is?
I want to say it sounds familiar, but no, I have no idea.
It's a Canadian holiday. Mm-hmm. The 11th month, the 11th hour, the 11th minute, basically the 11th day. That's when World War I ended. Mm-hmm. So for basically that day, there's 2 minutes of silence to remember everyone. And in towns in Canada, there's these little veteran memorial sites where veterans were buried. And a man named Eric Dahl has been cleaning the moss off the graves in his community. Like, he lives in Dromheller, Alberta. And he walked past it. He was like, I really respect the veterans. I want to honor them. So he just started cleaning off the moss, just cleaning them up, making them real nice. He started doing it one by one. He didn't tell anybody, didn't want anything. Just started doing it. And people just, like a month into it, were like,
what's he doing?
Why are those clean? No one had no clue what was going on because the moss had totally covering up like the stone parts of the grave. And then they saw him doing it, like, what are you doing? He's just, I'm just trying to show my appreciation to them. He make sure he's going to try to finish the whole grave site and then keep it up for the rest of his life, just to show how much the veterans mean to him.
That's awesome. That's awesome to do it in his own way, and then that's definitely inspiring, because a lot of people, they want to follow suit. They want to follow other people whenever they're doing something good. They don't really want to do their own thing, and him doing his own thing is inspiring.
He didn't even tell anybody. He didn't want any recognition.
That's awesome. That's the best way to do it. That's positive as it gets.
Absolutely. That's a real hero right there.
For sure. This next one I have is a little shorter. I actually just found this one out. I had no idea. Maybe you guys have heard it. Maybe you've heard it, JP. But Manny Pacquiao, he plans to build 1,000 homes for the poor in the Philippines. He was inspired after fighting Floyd Mayweather Jr., which, did you watch that fight?
Yeah.
What'd you think of it? It was a while ago, I know, but what'd you think of it?
Well, the thing was, I was at a wedding at the time. So I just got done boogieing for about 2 hours.
I love that word, boogie. I do, I swear.
I mean, I can't dance, but I can boogie.
I hear you.
So the fight wasn't as fun as the wedding. And it was also the Clippers and Spurs were playing that playoff game. It was Game 7 that day.
Basketball.
And I was way more concerned about that. But,
basketball trumps everything. But see, I hear you. Like, to me, the fight wasn't as exciting as I wanted it to be anyways. I mean, it's the fight of the century, so... Like, both guys are getting paid millions on top of millions on top of millions. I'm ready to see, the greatest fight of my life, which it wasn't, but it is what it is. But that being said, after fighting him, Manny Pacquiao was inspired to give back to the community that helped him get to where he was. And to me, I wanted to share that just because this man, isn't he a senator, I believe? Congressman. Yes. He's a congressman in the Philippines, and he's busy. He's got a lot on his plate. He's only allowed to train for a few hours at night after he's done throughout his whole entire day, and he still found a way to give back to his community after making all this amount of money, unlike a lot of athletes here in the United States where they make their millions and they dip. They get out. Well, they don't even go back to their high school. Yeah, exactly. And for him to build 1,000 homes for his community, I think it's awesome. I think more people should follow suit with that, because, there's a lot of people out there that have an endless amount of money and they're doing nothing but wasting it on whatever they want to waste it on. But at the same time, I understand people have their money and that's theirs, but I think more celebrities with that kind of money and that kind of power should definitely do something about it. So go Manny Pacquiao.
Absolutely.
What do you got for us, JP?
Well, I have positive news about the medical industry.
Nice.
It's getting better every day. And at the current rate, they expect the medical industry should increase more in the next 10 years than it has in the past 100. Mark Zuckerberg, the guy that owns Facebook, and recently announced $3 billion effort to cure all disease during the lifetime of their daughter. A Silicon Valley millionaire, Sean Parker, donated $250 million to increase, therapies for cancer. Google is developing, contact lenses. Check this out. Contact lenses for, diabetic people.
Oh, wow.
Glucose monitoring. They're gathering genetic data so they can figure out basically the human genome and recognize who's prone to diseases and stop it before it happens. It's a lot easier to stop cancer before it starts spreading.
Right. Big steps.
This is a lot of positive news in one, but they're all related to the medical industry. The sequencing of the human genome was first completed in 2001 and cost $3 billion. It only costs $1,000 today. By 2020, it might be cheaper than the blood test. That's how fast the medical industry is going.
That's great. By 20 when?
2022. So 6 years.
Wow.
So I know you got the baby fever.
Man.
Think about just all the advantages your children are going to have.
That gets me...
It makes you feel good, right?
It makes me feel a little relieved, to be honest with you.
I know this idea like, well, these kids don't get outside, social media this, social media that. There's always this bashing of millennials, but they're getting pregnant at a lower rate than any other generation. They're graduating high school at a lower rate than any other generation. They're going to college more. I mean, they're graduating at a higher rate than any other, basically, generation. They're going to college more than any other generation. We got 9-year-olds making libraries.
The youth is doing it right, man. Millennials, and let's go. Good job, millennials. Good job.
Shout out to the youth.
Shout out.
And hopefully the medical industry is getting better. It's better for everybody.
It is.
So next time you hear about some death virus, this Ebola, Zika, that's just tearing the country apart, remember the medical industry is still getting better every day.
Well, they're working on it, guys. They're working on it. There's hope. Don't give up.
We've come a long way in the last 100 years. Imagine where we're going to be in the next 100.
For sure. Well, let's stay on the topic of the youth, because I definitely have some news stories about the youth. Well, there's this young lady named Sophia Andrea Sanchez, and she is raising awareness for autism. And she's only 7 years old. Sophia makes videos with her mom. Her mom records her, and she tells people, I'm strong, I'm smart, I can do anything, I'm capable. This 7-year-old has autism. And recording these videos, she wants to inspire other kids that have autism to get out and do more. She believes that she can do anything that she wants, and I believe watching the video that I did watch of her in it. And
can you find the video?
You can find the video. We will have it
in the description.
Tú sabes. Well, basically, for the first 16 months of her life, she lived in a Ukrainian orphanage. She wasn't even allowed to go outside while she was there for the first 16 months of her life. I mean, it was not great conditions. That being said, she got adopted by this couple, the Sanchez's, from Sacramento. After they adopted her, they took her out, she was able to go outside. She now lives with 3 other siblings. And the youngest, her other sibling, which there are 3 boys, also has autism. So, they're pretty close. And she actually just premiered in her first commercial, a nationwide commercial with Target. It's like a winter commercial. I believe it's coming out for the holidays, which is coming up pretty soon. And I just think it's amazing. I think it's amazing people bringing awareness to autism, especially if you have autism. I mean, I think that's awesome.
Someone that does.
Yeah, or know someone that does. I mean, I feel like everybody...
Almost everyone does.
I really, honestly do believe that. So, nothing's stopping her. She's a child, and she has autism, and nothing's still stopping her. She believes nothing will stop her, and I think that's awesome. The confidence in her is great.
That's what's up, man.
Staying positive over here. Tú sabes.
Speaking of positivity, what would you do without your dog?
Man, I would be so sad. Even though he gets on my nerves, I would be sad without him.
So, I got a story of a man named Dale Bedove from Canada. He gave up his vacation fund because of he basically learned of an 80-year-old man with dementia that lost his dog. It was adopted by a new family, and that family wanted to keep the dog. He was a dog lover himself. He didn't know the man. He didn't know the family. He was like, how much do I have to pay to get this man his dog back? He gave up his vacation fund of $5,000 to get this 80-year-old man who would never comprehend what was really going on or how to pay him back. He gave him his vacation fund to get his dog back. That alone is amazing. When his community found out about it, they started a GoFundMe to get his money back. They're about halfway through, so they raised $2,500 so far. An anonymous donor got him a free plane ticket to Australia.
Wow.
Has someone ever you didn't know, just helped you out in your life and you didn't know them at all?
I want to say, yeah. I can't remember a specific moment, but I'm positive somebody came along and was like, and I got you, don't worry. Or, here, I'll pay for your food through the drive-thru or whatever the case may be.
That's like a different kind of love.
Yeah,
when you don't know anyone involved and you're like, oh, I understand because I'm a dog lover. I wouldn't want to have someone lose my dog. So here's my vacation fund, even though I don't know you. That's a belief in others. It's a belief in the community. That's what we're trying to build here. And that's
all heart.
I mean, I don't know a lot of people that would give up vacation to another country for someone else.
I definitely don't. I can tell you that right now.
So shout out to Dale.
Shout out.
Fedov. I hope I'm saying your name correctly.
We're sorry.
You're a hero. We're putting you out there. Your story deserves to be told. Hopefully, more actions come from it. What are we talking about today?
The importance of art education in public schools.
Art education is important because it can benefit students in different ways, improving their performance across the whole curriculum. But art programs in school are often the first to be cut if budget cuts are necessary, and as a result, many students are missing out on the benefits of an art class. For this podcast, we feel like we should define what art education is. It usually includes a combination of dance, music, drama, theater, and visual arts. It's usually funded by federal, state, and local governments, but not all schools provide their students with art education. Tim, what are some of the benefits of art education in schools?
Well, students who study art are 4 times more likely to be recognized for academic achievement and 3 times more likely to be awarded for school attendance. Art and music education programs are mandatory in countries that rank consistently among the highest for math and science test scores like Japan, Hungary, and the Netherlands. Music programs are constantly in danger of being cut from shrinking school budgets, even though they're proven to improve academics. Show educators how important arts are in your community. That's what we really, really need to focus on.
Absolutely. You got more?
I have more. I most definitely have more.
You want to save them for later, or you just want me to start kicking the
I definitely want to save some for later.
Okay.
Definitely do.
Okay. Well, speaking of cuts, following the recent recession, budget cuts were consistent in schools across the U.S., with 95% of students attending schools that had significantly reduced their budgets. It's estimated that since 2008, more than 80% of schools nationwide have experienced cuts to their budget. As a remedy, in some instances, art programs were partially or completely eliminated from affected school districts. Dance and theater were basically gone. 20% of schools offered dance and theater classes in 2000. By 2010, only 3% of schools. So that's a massive drop. The number of schools that have offered music classes didn't change too significantly, but I can tell you that I went to a school that had massive cuts in the arts. Whenever I was in high school, my junior year, we basically cut everything. There was no band, there was no music. We had 1 art class and 1 drama class. That's it. Those were the only art classes we had. There was no theater, none of that.
No drama.
And before that, like musically, like we had a band, but it was 3 people just
Playing the drums.
like that's it. We didn't have anything.
See, that's tough because, I mean, research obviously shows people that are in art programs do better in school. Like the No Child Left Behind Act clearly mandates the arts, which music, art class, even foreign languages are considered a core class. That's what it says in the No Child Left Behind Act. One study group showed that 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students who are taught a foreign language in every school outperform the students who are not exposed to a foreign language on their basic skills tests. And foreign languages are classes that are getting cut still to this day. They're part of the arts programs. They're getting cut along with choir, band, theater. Like regular art classes are even getting canceled. It's tough, and it doesn't make any sense because there's so many studies online you could find, which we're going to have some, again, on the podcast where you guys are able to read the links, and it shows that kids that are in these art programs do so much better.
They literally benefit the schools in every single way. There's no downside to them except they cost money.
Exactly.
But it's worth it because it's our kids' education.
It's supposed to be worth it.
It definitely is worth it. The thing with art educations, even though they're being slashed nationwide, they're more heavily affecting Hispanic Americans, African Americans, people in low-income communities. African and Hispanic students were more than 2 times less likely to have access to art programs in their school district compared to their white peers. Rates of African American and Hispanic students who have received art education while in school have been declining since the 1990s. In 1992, 50% of African Americans 18 to 24 years old received art education. In 2008, only 26% had. Similar numbers are basically the same for Hispanic children. And basically because of that Common Core standard that you were talking about, most people only focus on like math and English. And they're more than willing to cut the other Common Cores to focus on them and get their test grades up. But the thing with art classes is you learn to think differently than you think in a math class or an English class. You're not just memorizing like you are in history, like, let me memorize this fact and write it down.
Right. Not everybody learns like that.
Exactly. So if you're a visual learner, you're in art class, you're drawing out your images. You're becoming more dexterous. You're thinking on the fly.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, research shows that, new brain research shows that not only does music improve skills in math and reading, but it promotes creativity, social development, personality adjustment, and self-worth. If that's not important, then what is in all reality? We're in the United States, I mean, being social media. If art is helping you become more social, it's helping you be able to talk to other people a little bit more confident, why not keep those classes instead of cutting those classes?
You just think differently in those classes. Like, you're learning an instrument, you have to like, oh, this doesn't sound good. Why does this not sound good? You have to work at your crafts. You're in like a theater class, you're doing an improv, you gotta think on the fly. There's no memorizing for tests, you gotta go. You gotta interact, work better with others.
Exactly.
Build creativity. And there are literally like no downsides, none. Higher graduation rates, better child development. It's better for children in poverty because they're less likely to join their gangs, they're more likely to go to school. Like, I wanna go to school because I'm engaged in my classes, but they're the first things to go. So what can we do to change this or support our programs?
And to support, there's a lot of different ways you can help support art programs. One is volunteering. In all reality, if you volunteer your time, many schools would appreciate your time as a chaperone, your skill as a teaching artist, or donating money, costumes, rehearsal space, etc. I mean, there's so many different things you could do that all it takes is a little bit of time that most people have in all reality. I mean, I know a lot of people that 2 hours out of the day, they're not sure what they're doing with their life. So, I mean, if art is important to you, find a local elementary school. There's elementary schools everywhere in Oklahoma City. Probably everywhere, wherever you guys are from that are listening. Call and ask how you can help.
That's exactly my first point. Many schools have begun relying on like private funding or like basically nonprofits to like, oh, you're gonna cut our art budgets? Well, hey, nonprofit, can you come here and here? And you like give us grants so they can have art education in their schools. For example, in 2013, the Eugene Education Foundation allocated 30% of its grants in art education to schools. And what they would do is they would come in and they would teach Mexican arts for a month. The next time they come in, they'd like, okay, we're gonna teach a salsa class. Next time we come in, we're gonna do French history artwork. So every time you come in, you're learning a different art skill, learning about their music, their culture, and you're also learning to like interact with others through their theater, basically through drama. You're learning different skills that you can apply in life.
So much positivity coming from art.
So if you find a nonprofit, you can volunteer, like you said, find a nonprofit and donate to them. Get your kids basically an art education. If there's not one in your community, find a nonprofit, let them know, like, hey, come in here.
That's true. I mean,
and that's just one way you can help.
I mean, there's so many more. You can get involved politically. Tell your elected officials why art education is important. I mean, that's huge. We have to vote, and a lot of times voting is what decides what gets cut and what doesn't get cut.
We always harp on voting, but you vote for your school board members.
100%.
And go to those meetings and tell them, like, hey, my child is really good at coloring. She would like an art class in elementary school.
I mean, people think that children don't get stressed out. They get stressed out. Sometimes art helps. It allows them to relieve so much stress that they don't even know that they have. Whether it's coloring, drawing, singing, acting, they get to be kids. There's no reason why we should have a bunch of robots at the age of 10 years old just doing math, English, and history. You know how boring school would have been back then? I don't even remember my math, English, or history classes in elementary. I remember going to band. I remember PE.
I didn't have band when I was in elementary, man.
I actually had what did I play? The cello? No, I played the bass. The strings class, that's what we had. We didn't have band. But I played the bass, which I enjoyed a little bit. I did. I was like...
Do you feel like that helped you later on in
life?
Oh,
100%. I mean, like I said, I don't even remember my math or English classes or anything. I remember all my art classes, though, all my art teachers. I was even in drama one year in high school. I enjoyed it all. It was stress relieving, beyond stress relieving. I couldn't imagine how many days where I was just having a bad day, like I'm struggling in class or whatever the case may be, and I go to one of these electives that I have, having a great time, leaving that class with a smile on my face, going into the next class like, man, do I really need to take English this hour? I speak English. What do I need to learn this for? But,
and that's why, like, almost everyone has this experience with art classes, so get out and vote. Tell your elected officials, like, we need an art education. Tell your school board members. Tim, give them another way they can help change.
With 93% of Americans agreeing that art education is important, you are likely to find allies. Create a community team to come up with a plan for art education based on its strengths, I guess.
Giving the youth some more arts.
That's what we really need. I mean, that's my personal opinion, which we're not supposed to give too many opinions on the positive truth, but if you support art, I'm pretty sure there's other people out there that do.
93% of Americans.
93%.
I'm pretty sure the other 7% were probably undecided. There's not going to be that many no's.
Unless it's affecting your pockets. That's a whole nother subject.
So find people in your community. Find that person that played cello. Like, hey, can you teach my kid cello? I'll pay you a little bit. Or, oh, can you can you get a nonprofit, do this?
You have to talk about it. You have to bring it up.
You have to be engaged in your community.
Have to. And that's exactly what we're trying to do here in The Positive Truth. We're trying to help you guys become more engaged.
And more aware to issues like art education getting cut in the community.
Exactly.
We have so many more things that this is positive on that we probably don't even know where to go on with, other than we need it more in schools. That's the basic idea here.
I mean, it helps. It helps with everything. I mean, more kids are graduating whenever they take art classes. More kids.
4 times more likely.
That's 4 times. 4 times more likely. That's ridiculous.
I know we've already done this on another podcast, but tell them again how many people graduated, how many were in your freshman class, and how many graduated.
It was well over 600, and we graduated a third, 213.
So if you do that like 4 times, that means y'all are probably keeping, like, instead of graduating 200, y'all might graduate 400.
Exactly.
500.
Yeah, close to almost
My
everybody.
freshman class was 350. We graduated 127.
If we had some more art classes, maybe it would have been different.
We didn't have any in my school. We had 1 art class and 1 drama class. That was it.
It's tough. Like, in all reality, too, art wasn't considered cool back then, I feel like. Not at U.S. Grant. I know you were at Southeast, but art wasn't considered cool. If you were in drama, you were considered, a nerd or whatever the case may be. But now as an adult, I wish I could go back. And the drama class that I was in for 1 year, I tried out for the play. I made it. I'm all excited. I definitely got kicked out of the play.
What play were you in?
It was called Love, Sex, and IRS. It was about... It was a comedy.
Okay.
It was a comedy. It was this guy that was roommating with his friend, and he put on his job W-2 form that he was married. So he said he was married to his roommate, which he said his roommate was a woman. So my part was the roommate that had to dress up like a girl whenever he got audited, and I got kicked out of the play. I didn't actually get to act in it.
Wow, Tim. But was it a good experience while you did it?
It was great, actually. It really was. It it kind of got me out of that too cool for school mode into, man, I just want to talk to people.
Have you been in any good plays recently?
I have. Actually, yesterday, I took my niece to go watch Aladdin at the high school I work at. A lot of my kids are in drama, my athletes, so, I was like, oh, for sure I'll go. Yeah, I'll go. And then they just kept bugging me about it. They're like, oh, bring your niece. So I brought my niece to it. I actually brought my niece, my wife, and my niece's mother, my sister-in-law. And my niece loved it. She's 4 years old. She loved Aladdin. The cool thing about this play, it was in Spanish. It was like a bilingual thing. They changed up the story to Aladdin. Aladdin's one of my favorite movies of all time, right? So whenever they said they were doing this, I'm like, do I really want to watch you guys mess this up? That's what I was thinking in my head. Like,
You're messing with my childhood
exactly.
memories.
Like Lion King and Aladdin, you can't mess those up for me. If you do, man, I'm ready to fight.
So did the drama teacher change the script? How did they change the script?
I believe it was the teacher. I'm not exactly sure who decided. I believe it was the teacher because the students aren't, they're not going to come up with the whole script that changes the game. But I just know that.
That's great, though. That's why we need more arts in school. I didn't have any theater when I was in.
We need to support by going. Like, if you actually go, you might have a good time. Like, that was the first play I've went to since I was in high school, and I promise you, it's something that I wish I could watch again. I really, really do. And I'm 28,
That's why we need
27.
more art in school, man. We need more experiences like that.
For sure.
If the kids are doing something like that, imagine what the whole country could do if we had arts.
Agreed. Creativity would just be blown out of everybody's head. Like, we'd have look how many things we have now just by people being creative. And I believe that has something to do with the arts. It helps people become more creative, helps them think outside the box. So with more art classes, more support of art classes, maybe we'll have a little bit more and a little bit better.
And we're all about ending injustice here. You're in the arts, find different ways, not only to make new technologies, but stop discrimination, stop injustice in your community.
That's a good point. Very good point.
I think we've hammered this point into the ground, Tim.
I
We
believe
need
so.
our arts. Go vote. Tell your scoreboard members. Find someone in your community. Find a nonprofit that can help you out. Tim, did I miss anything?
No, sir, you did not.
I remember what I missed.
Oh,
Where you can find us at, we're going to say it again. iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and YouTube at The Positive Truth. Tell us on Facebook and Google Play about your positive stories, how we're doing, what you would like us to talk about in the next podcast, or if you just like an all positive news podcast where we just talk about positive news. Who knows? Let us know. Leave us a review. Share it with a friend. That would help us out a lot. Tim, did I miss anything now?
we take criticism. Be honest. Let us know if we messed up. Let us know if you don't like it. Let us know if we can do better.
Hopefully your week is wonderful, and we hope this helps your week be better. We out.
Deuces.